The Italian city of Matera was the European capital of culture in 2019, along with the city of Plovdiv in Bulgaria. That's when I saw for the first time photos of the cave dwellings carved in rock in the Gravina River Canyon. Matera is a city in southern Italy that has a rich history dating back over 9,000 years. Located in the Basilicata region of the country, it is considered one of the oldest continuously inhabited settlements in the world. Matera is famous for its unique architecture, including the Sassi, a series of ancient cave dwellings carved into the rock. The Sassi have been inhabited since prehistoric times and were used as homes, stables, and even churches until the 1950s. The depopulation of Matera in the 1950s was a significant event in the history of the city. In the mid-20th century, Matera was one of the poorest and most overcrowded cities in Italy, and its residents faced a range of social and economic challenges. The living conditions in the Sassi neighborhood were particularly difficult, with poor sanitation, limited access to water, and limited space. To address these issues, the Italian government initiated a program in the 1950s to relocate residents of the Sassi to new housing developments on the outskirts of the city. This relocation was carried out rapidly and involved the forced eviction of many residents, who were given little notice and few options. As a result, many families were forced to leave behind their homes, businesses, and communities, and start new lives in unfamiliar surroundings. Sassi di Matera has been restored and revitalized, becoming a major tourist destination and cultural attraction. The once abandoned houses have been restored and renovated and turned into museums, restaurants, and hotels, making them a popular tourist attraction. In 1993, Matera was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site due to its cultural and historical significance. The city has also been used as a filming location for several movies, including The Passion of the Christ, which helped to bring it to the attention of a global audience. One of the most striking features of Matera is its distinctive architecture. The Sassi, with their narrow alleys and stepped streets, are a testament to the city's history and the ingenuity of its early inhabitants. In addition, the city has several beautiful churches, many of which date back to the Middle Ages. Sassi di Matera comprises two districts, the Sasso Cavioso to the south and Sasso Berisano to the north. Sasso Berisano is home to Matera's main cathedral and many stately homes. Sasso Cavioso, on the other hand, is far less developed and perhaps more interesting for visitors. With many cave dwellings still not refurbished, it gave us a good glimpse of Matera from 30 years ago, before the arrival of tourism. But considering the popularity of Matera nowadays, it was only a matter of time before every single Sassi was converted for tourism. I have read that more than a quarter of the city's housing stock is listed for rent on Airbnb, the highest rate in Italy. Navigating around Sassi was quite tricky for any first-timer. The narrow twisting lanes often lead to dead ends. There is something new and unexpected at every corner. Sometimes, it was difficult for me to distinguish the boundary between the public walkway and the private staircases. According to historical accounts, this blurring of private and public spaces was a hallmark of life in Matera in centuries past. As expected, Google Maps and other similar GPS services don't work well. For anyone who has timed reservations for tours or restaurants, it is probably wise to allow extra time. While getting lost within Sassi di Matera is the main attraction, many fascinating historical monuments are worth seeking. The grandest monument would be Matera Cathedral, perched at the highest point of Sassi. The cathedral's bell tower looks like it was pulled to the sky by God's hands. Constructed in the 13th century in the style of Puglian Romanesque, the cathedral appears austere and reminiscent of a solid fortress and is almost a carbon copy of the cathedrals at Bari. Though many are content with enjoying the beautiful vista from the piazza at the front, I think it is worthwhile to visit inside. Not surprisingly, access to the cathedral interior requires a nominal admission outside of the time of religious service. The interior was an interesting blend of Romanesque and Baroque. The highlight would undoubtedly be the giant nativity scene at the left transept. It was the work of local sculptor Altabello Persio. The stone artwork of the Nativity seems to evoke the urban morphology of Sassi. A big section of the floor in front of the Nativity has been replaced with glass flooring. From here, we could inspect the ancient church of St. Eustace. Its beautiful fresco is in remarkable condition. On ancient murals, Matera is probably in a league of its own. As a city of caves, quite a few Rupestrian churches survive through the centuries. Among them, the most iconic and striking is the Church of Saint Mary of Idris. This church is built into a giant monolith called Monterone. Together with the adjoining crypt of San John, the interior is plastered with magnificent frescoes dating from the 12th to the 17th century. Many of the murals carry characteristics of Byzantine mosaic, which signifies the close link between the Greek realm and this part of Italy. Unlike paintings on canvas, these murals adapt well to the undulating surfaces of the rock face. There is just something primal about being inside a Rupestrian church. I definitely would have thought these murals could have been from ancient times. If we could stretch the definition of a church a little broader, the most unusual church would be the Palombaro Lungo. Also nicknamed the Cathedral of Water, Palombaro Lungo is the largest underground cistern supplying water to the Sassi. The arid landscape of Basilicata necessitates water conservation by any means possible. The cistern collects both spring and rainwater. Measured at 50 feet in height, the cistern was carved out of the native tuff rocks and plastered with a special waterproofing finish called cacio pesto. The soaring walls of the cistern echo ecclesiastical architecture. Situated in the middle of Piazza Vittorio Veneto, the cistern was abandoned for a few decades after a new aqueduct was constructed in the 1920s. It was not until 1991 that a construction worker accidentally rediscovered the cistern. The excavated area of the cistern has been permanently left exposed to provide visitors an opportunity to get a glimpse of this underground realm. Today, it is perhaps the most intriguing historical site in Matera. The cistern is beautifully illuminated with an interesting green, purple, and blue mix. It is easy to compare Palombaro Lungotto to Istanbul's Basilica cistern. While the Matera cistern is smaller and more primitive-looking, I enjoy the organic quality of this place more. It elicited primal emotions and a sense of wonder within many of us. After a whole day exploring Sassi, we were inevitably exhausted by the intense sun and endless staircase. The orderly street just outside Sassi felt like a much-needed respite. The Baroque section of Matera is surprisingly pretty and tidy. It resembles many northern Italy towns. Via del Corso and Via San Biagio form the city's spine and are ideal for the nightly passeggiata. Although Matera is now firmly on the tourism map, the city has yet to become the next Venice or Civita di Bagneregio. The lack of easy transportation to other parts of Europe has kept out hordes of backpackers whose interests are parties and cheap liquor. At Matera, you are more likely to see an upscale wine bar than a dance club. To visit Matera is to walk in the footsteps of one of the world's earliest civilizations among the craggy sandstone caves they left behind. The city's rich history is embodied in its cultural accolades, making it a top destination in a country defined by its treasured past and the diverse populations who shaped its traditions along the way.